There's something that I realized when I was writing the blog post about my recap of what I packed and planned for my travel capsule for this past trip to Europe. And I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this, and maybe it's just me and I'm obsessed with what shoes to pack when you travel, but this is another post about shoes, so bear with me. I was planning my capsule according to my itinerary. There's a few things that I was noticing, and maybe it's because it was my first time being in Europe in the summer and having to pack a sandal. So the thing that I was realizing, and I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this, is that there's something that I'm gonna call a sandal city. And what I mean by that is that it's a destination in Europe or wherever where it's suited to packing a sandal, to wearing a sandal. Someplace like Paris, where it's a little grittier, you have to deal with the metro. Maybe you don't want to be wearing a sandal in that city. Maybe you want to have a closed-toed shoe, just because of the volume of walking that you're doing. And of course, this is all just, your personal preference. If you want to wear a sandal wherever, just go for it. I'm just saying, for me, I know on one trip we were in Oaxaca and I wore sandals, and by the end of the day, my feet were so grody and grimy. And I did pack tennis shoes for that trip. So subsequent excursions, I wore my tennis shoes just because Oaxaca's not even like this giant metropolis. It's just getting around. It's a city, and your feet are exposed. They're gonna get a little dirty. So it's just something to think about. When you're traveling to like a bigger city, I would call that a sneaker city. So what would be a sandal city? So for example, on the trip I just went on, Porto, beautiful, walkable, strollable city. So think strollable equals sandal city. Like, you're not gonna be grinding away. You're gonna be strolling. It's a smaller city, it's a smaller scale. You're going to enjoy your time, and you're going to stroll, and you're going to wear a sandal, and you're going to look fabulous. Another city that I wore sandals in or thought was nice for sandals was a small town in France that I'd never been to called La Rochelle. I don't know how to say it. Anyway, it's a small coastal town, medieval town. There's a marina. I think I circled the town in about 25 minutes. So that's another example of a sandal city. Not a booming metropolis. You're strolling, you're walking, you're taking your time. That way also, you really don't have to overthink the type of sandal you're bringing. Because for example, I brought a nice, comfortable sandal, but it definitely was not like super like orthopedic or whatever. It was just a good sandal, which I'll show here. But I knew I was going to wear them on those low volume walking days in the sandal cities. So that's just something to consider when you're packing and planning your travel capsule, so that you don't end up overpacking and that you don't have to stress too much about like your footwear. Really, I only recommend about 2 or 3 pairs of shoes. Any kind of big city, you want to maybe stick with a sneaker. And a second reason for that is just the walkability, the functionality of having that 20K shoe, which is the 20,000 step shoe. So it's an added consideration when you're planning out your capsule and planning out your outfits. So when you're planning your travel capsule, think about, are you visiting a sandal city? Or are you visiting a sneaker city?